Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of Rendezvous with Anza Saqib on CxO Global TV. CxO Global Forum is a knowledge sharing platform for all C levels across the globe. We take massive pride in contributing to the knowledge economy, with the league of extraordinary key thought leaders brought together by journalists and industry professionals, corporate governance, transformation, innovation, and internationalization are some of the areas that we're talking about, but um, primarily building upon disruptive technologies, innovation, and there's a lot that's going on in the world these days, and our discussions are focused on contributing to the global knowledge economy. Every time we've got very special guests with us amongst our members. Today we've got another fine gentleman who has a lot of experience, not only in his domain, but he is a change maker and somebody who has had a tremendous impact on the lives of a lot of people. So we have Mr. Dr. Sahibzada Ali Mohammad today. He's the Managing Director of the KP PID Board. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you for the introduction, Anza. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Of course. So when, generally we conduct interviews, we do have a theme in mind, and today's topic is very pertinent. We would like to speak to you primarily about the roadmap for KPK and the digital policies that are there. However, before we begin, I would also like for the audiences, in their interest, to know a little about you, sir. Where did you start and how did you end up as the managing director for the KPIT board?
Okay, thank you. So it has been quite an interesting journey so far, with a lot of challenges. Some things that unfolded over the course of the journey. I'll talk about them. I'm really proud of those things and the way it resulted in creating a good enough impact in the lives of people. So most of my education has been in Peshawar. My schooling has been from Peshawar. I studied in St. Mary's High School. Then I went to Edwards College. I did my FSc in pre-engineering from there, and then I did my electrical engineering from UET Peshawar. From there onwards, my first job was with National Engineering and Scientific Commission. I was there for about 2 years, and most of my job description was related to research and development. And afterwards, I had a chance to go to England to do my PhD in electrical engineering. So it was through a competitive process. It was a scholarship awarded by the Higher Education Commission. So I went to Brunel University. I joined the Wireless Networks and Communication group over there. It was led by Professor Hamid Al-Raveshti, and I was lucky to join that group because it was one of the biggest regarding research and wireless communication in the UK. So also, while I was doing my PhD, I was engaged by my supervisor to work on a EU-funded project. It was under their 6th framework program. It was called Magnet Beyond. And it had about 32 consortium partners. It had SMEs. It had some of the leading industries like France Telecom, NEC Europe, Nokia. I worked on that project for about 3.5 years. And meanwhile, I had a chance to work on some other EU-funded projects with my supervisor. So it was a great learning experience. And after I finished my PhD, I came back and I joined UET Peshawar, the electrical engineering department at UET Peshawar. So while I was there, I established the first research center over there. It was called Center for Intelligent Systems and Networks Research. It's still over there. And then I managed to bring in some funding from Ignite. It was known as National ICT R&D Fund at that time. And those projects were on smart grids, Internet of Things. There was an element of AI involved, and I'm talking about 2012. Wow. So we did a lot of projects over there. And the good thing was that a lot of the students, especially at the undergrad level, Prior to establishing the research center, they could not get to work on some, cutting edge research. So about 9 years ago, we made them work on different IoT enabled applications, which at that time was quite new. So a lot of the people, they were quite interested in the kind of impact that Internet of Things could make, AI could make. So we did those projects. I also established the Center for Advanced Studies in Energy at UET Peshawar. It was funded by USAID with a total funding of $19.5 million.
Wow.
So from there onwards, in 2015, I joined Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Economic Zones Development and Management Company as the Chief Information Officer. And that company is a Section 42 company. It's mandated to develop the industrial infrastructure in KP. It's mandated to develop economic zones and special economic zones. So the main idea was to go for rapid industrialization and to compensate for the the economic opportunity that was lost because of the law and order situation that was created in those times because of the war and terror and all those things. So the idea was to go for a massive industrialization drive and to create job opportunities for our skilled youth. So I was there for about 5 years, a little more than 5 years, and I had the opportunity to work on different projects. The main purpose of my job was to go for digitalization in the industrial sector. So we initiated a lot of projects. Also, I had the opportunity to work on a CPEC project, which is the Rashakai Prioritized Special Economic Zone, and it is the first prioritized special economic zone that is already being developed. There are other prioritized special economic zones, one in Punjab and one in Sindh, and there is one going to be established in Balochistan. So this is the first one that came up, and the interesting thing is that this is perhaps the first one which is going to be developed by a Chinese state-owned enterprise, which is CRBC. They have a lot of experience under their belt, and so
So
I
you
was
had a
there for.
very broad vision, and how did then the KPIT board happen?
Okay, so how it happened was quite interesting because in 2017 I had the opportunity to work as their board member, and I worked on the digital policy 2018, which you must have gone through, which is available on our website. So
Right.
I was among the people who developed the policy, and it's structured on 4 pillars, which include digital skills, digital economy, digital governance, and digital access.
Right.
So I worked on that, and while I was in KP ISMIC, I also developed the new industrial policy, which has recently been approved by the provincial cabinet, the Industrial Policy 2020. So actually, in 2020, this opportunity came up. I applied for it. It was done through a competitive process, and actually, the drive came from the passion to contribute specifically towards the digital transformation of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And interestingly, I also had an opportunity to apply for another position that was the CEO position at Ignite. So actually, both of these positions worked. At the end, actually, it worked out that I was in the top 3 candidates for both of these positions. But the KPIT board position was offered to me before the Ignite position, so I joined KPIT board, and later on I had to withdraw my candidacy from the other position. So it has been a very interesting ride since then. I joined KPIT board in October 2020, and so we had to run the projects that were already going on, but also as soon as I joined the KPIT board, I was asked by the chief minister to present a 1-year plan, which included some new projects that that pertain to the objective of digital transformation of the province and making digital KP a reality. So most of the initiatives that we are taking are in line with the Digital Policy 2018 and the 4 pillars that I mentioned a
Right.
while
So
ago.
let's talk about these 4 pillars, starting with digital access. Now, what all comes under this?
Okay, so digital access is it's related to ensure that connectivity is available the end objective is that connectivity is available to everybody. Internet access is democratized and it's available to everyone in the province, because um, the idea is to go for equitable digital inclusion. So if people do not
Absolutely.
have access to internet connectivity, you can also assume that they are at an economic loss, because they cannot avail many opportunities that are available in the digital economy these days.
Absolutely. And Dr. Sahibzada, we did notice a lot of this post pandemic, because a lot of, like, for instance, children who, because schools closed down, and if they only had one laptop or a phone at home and there were multiple children in the house, how do you ensure that all of them are able to take their online classes? Or, for instance, those businesses who hadn't been digitally transformed per se, they suffered heavy losses. So I think that's remarkable work that you are doing. But how exactly do you plan on implementing this?
So we are doing that in collaboration with Universal Services Fund, because
Mhm.
it's actually their mandate at the federal level to invest in underserved areas. And you see, after the 18th Amendment, IT and telecom have not been devolved to the provinces. So the telecom infrastructure, it's still the mandate of the federal government, and USF is the key player that we are collaborating with to ensure that we provide access to as many people as we can in the province, because we have to realize that in Pakistan the internet penetration is still quite low if we compare ourselves to many other countries in the region. And we really need to invest in this area, because you see, despite the fact that our internet penetration is quite low, there is a very encouraging indicator, which is the year on year growth of our freelancers, which is around 47% based on the data that was available last year. So that places us at fourth in the world, and India has dropped down to number 7, and their year on year growth has decreased. But we can even improve on that figure if we improve two things: our access, our internet penetration, and number two, to provide as many skills, competitive skills, digital skills, starting from basic literacy to digital literacy to advanced digital skills. We can make many of our youth competitive, and they can earn good revenue from the
Absolutely.
international
I couldn't
marketplace.
agree with you more, Dr. Saibzada, on the fact that uh, there is a lot of potential in the freelancers community. Uh, the figure is very encouraging. You told us that we are at number 4 in the world now. However, a lot of times when I do speak to freelancers, one of the biggest complaints that they have is that it's very difficult and challenging for them to process payments that they receive from abroad. Uh, I know there's still issues with the payment gateway systems. How can this problem be solved?
That problem is being addressed gradually, and now there are platforms that you can use that can address this problem. So I'll give you my personal example. About, I think, 7 to 8 months ago, I created an account for my father on freelancer.com, because he's retired, and he told me that he would want to do something online that would keep him busy. So I created an account for him, and I found out that on freelancer.com you can easily link your local bank accounts from, I think there were 4 banks that were available, local banks. I think it was MCB, Habib Bank, and a couple of other banks. I don't remember exactly which ones they were. I think it was Bank Al Falah or some other bank. So it's gradually becoming easier to link your local bank
But
accounts.
tax is where the issues come in, right? Uh, with the freelancer community. And maybe if I may request on behalf of freelancers, maybe this is an area that needs some consideration and your attention.
Yes,
Speaking
but in the
about,
province, sorry.
sorry, go on.
Okay, in KP, what the government has done is to reduce the tax on services to 2%, which is the lowest in the country. So we are taking certain
Wow.
measures, and later on I can talk more about this, how we are trying to address this problem.
That's highly encouraging, and hats off to you for taking that into consideration. Moving forward, when we talk about digital governance, what exactly does this entail, and what policy considerations have been made?
So under the digital governance initiative, there are multiple things that are there. What we've done is, when I took charge of KPIT board, I worked on a preliminary digital governance roadmap for Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So there is a roadmap for digital governance. There is a roadmap for imparting skills to our youth, and there is a roadmap for burgeoning the digital economy in the province. And there are various initiatives that we have planned. Most of them have already been approved by the provincial government for funding. So I'll start from the digital governance framework that I've developed. So under the digital governance framework, there is a consideration of improving the public service delivery by the government to the citizens. So we have a project that we recently got approved from the provincial government. It's on citizen facilitation services. So all of the services that are provided by the government to citizens are gradually going to be digitalized. We are going to go for back-end digitalization, and the channels through which these services are delivered to the citizens are going to be made more convenient. And we are also going to involve the citizen feedback into it, and we are also going to make it very convenient for the citizens to pay for those services. If they have access to the internet and they have a mobile device or a laptop, they can pay for these services in the comfort of their home. So that's one aspect. Another thing is to work on how the government deals with businesses, how the regulatory framework can be eased out for businesses. So we are developing a one window business platform. Work has already commenced on it, and hopefully we'll have that completed in the last quarter this year, and we can launch it. So we've done comprehensive process mapping of these different processes through which the businesses have to go through, register them, starting from their registration to these different channels, utility connections and all those things. So we are going to provide all of that through a single window, and we are doing that in collaboration with the KP Board of Investment and Trade. They did the process mapping, and our job is to do the digitalization. That is another thing. Apart from that, we have a big project coming up, which is called the paperless government, which is designed to ensure that the way the government works, there is a lot of wastage. To reduce that paper wastage, to make the working of the government more environment friendly, to make it more efficient, to make the decision making quicker, because making it paperless also ensures that there is a certain level of transparency, because everything is done on a certain platform. And you can also ensure a certain level of accountability, because you would know that if a certain case is initiated, what is the bottleneck that is preventing that case from being processed in the due time frame. That is another thing. Also, we are developing an integrated payment gateway, which is going to ensure that all of these different platforms that we are going to develop, there is going to be a single gateway maintained by the government, so that businesses and citizens can pay for all the services that they avail from the government using that gateway. The last couple of things I would like to mention under this framework, one is related to an app. We are calling it the KP Government Super App. So traditionally, I noticed that what has been happening is that different government departments have been developing their own apps, and if we consider the number of departments and their attached formation, it goes to more than 150. So having more than 100 apps does not make any sense at all. So
Right.
we are developing a single super app for the government, which is going to include all those services, and the citizens can access information about any department. The last thing is information privacy and security. I'll call it cyber security, because if you go for a digitalization drive, the primary concern then becomes the
Is
security of
opening
your
the
digital.
gateway for all kinds of attacks and ransomware and
Yes. So we need to ensure that the more digital assets that are created on our digital platforms, we need to ensure that they remain secure, and the data of citizens, their privacy, all of those concerns are met.
wow, that seems like a remarkable and comprehensive plan. And when can we see all of these things executed? For example, one thing that seems very exciting, and I can't wait to see it, you know, take its due course, is the super app by the KP government. Uh, what year are we looking at?
So it's going to be phased out gradually. So in the first phase, we are looking at about 17 services that we have identified from different government departments. We've held consultative sessions with them. And then in the second phase, more features are going to be added to it. So it's going to be rolled out in 3 phases. But if you're talking about how soon can we launch that, It's going to be hopefully in the second quarter next year,
Wow, that's
because
quite
it's linked to the back-end digitization, which is going to take time. Developing the app is not that difficult, but the back-end digitization of many processes, especially in public sector, it takes time.
right. Absolutely. Moving forward, when we speak about the digital economy, right? That's also something that does spark a lot of interest. And would you like to elaborate a little more about the digital economy?
Yeah. So in a nutshell, all of our initiatives that we have taken or are planning to take under the digital economy pillar of our policy, the main idea is to go for wealth creation and job creation in the province. Um, so I'll give you an idea. I mean, so we have these different initiatives. One of them, which targets people with a low tier skill set, is the business process outsourcing initiative that we've taken. So we've already established a facility which is in the premises of our head office. It's called Workaround. It's been established with funding from the World Bank. And we have established a 350 seat facility. And we already have some of the leading BPO operators in Pakistan who are on board with us. So we have Cybrid, which is a company of the Laxon
Right.
Group.
That's in
We
group.
have, yes, we have Touchstone available with us. We have recently received interest from a few other leading BPO operators in Pakistan. And we've also signed an agreement with Affinity, which is going to start
Yeah.
its operations in Peshawar soon. So these are some of the things that we've been doing in our BPO facility. And in addition to that, we are establishing a 200 seat facility in Aptabad. So work has already commenced on that. And maybe in the next 5 months, the facility is going to be hopefully ready. And we'll start operations over there as well. So on one seat, there can be two jobs created because we operate the facility on 24/7 basis. And it's a plug and play facility. We ensure that every kind of um, service is provided on the spot. It includes 24/7 availability of electricity, a high speed internet connectivity, training rooms, video conferencing rooms, all the equipment, heating, cooling, everything is provided, including security. So all the BP operator has to do is to come to us, look at the facility. If they're happy enough, we sign an agreement, and they can immediately, if they have trained people available, they can immediately start availing the facility. We also have a lot of skill-based programs which feed into. So we have a digital skills pillar in our policy. So it feeds
Right.
into the digital governance pillar, and it also feeds into the digital economy pillar, because one idea is to facilitate the private sector businesses. So we have these different schemes. One is our digital internship program. We have our
Right.
youth employment program. We have an advanced digital skills program. And two of the initiatives that I recently am going to start, I'm really proud of them, because one of them is targeting our children at the grassroots level. So, in collaboration with elementary and secondary education department, we started a scheme called Early Age Program, which was a first in Pakistan. That was started 3.5 years ago, and we started from 60 government schools, and now we have scaled it up to 840 government schools.
Right.
And what we do is that the children, of class 6 up to class 8, they are taught the block
STEM
programming and the, sorry.
STEM courses.
They are taught block programming, and the
Okay.
curriculum that we follow is from MIT Scratch program and code.org. So it is available free of cost. So we've scaled that program up, and we are now calling it digital literacy for all. And we expect it to be quite transformative when we talk about the government schools, because it was unheard of that the government provides these kind of programs in their schools. So it now includes three components. It includes coding and robotics. It includes cognitive skills, and it includes a digital literacy component. So we are using the content from Mozilla Foundation's digital literacy curriculum from Microsoft, and
Right.
also from Facebook. And apart from
Brilliant.
that, the idea is to create a competitive. Our children should be, even the children in our government schools, they are usually thought to be left out regarding so many different opportunities that are not available over there but are available in the private schools. So the idea is to make them, at par with the private school children. And also, at the higher level, recently we are starting a program with the higher education department. It's called the KP Digital Workforce. So that's also an interesting program that we're starting, and the idea is to make our graduates competitive, because as soon as they graduate, at times they are not market ready, and additional time needs to be spent on them, and they need to get certain trainings in order to be able to land a good job and to be competitive. So the idea of this project is to ensure that they are competitive. And we also have some infrastructure based projects. The first of them is the Pakistan Digital City project. It's we already have the land acquired in Haripur, and it's
Yeah.
about 3 kilometers away from Park Austria Fachhochschule Institute.
Okay.
Another project that we have is the Aptabad IT Park, and then there is another one which is called Peshawar Digital Complex. So we intend to establish a proper ecosystem through the availability of such quality infrastructure, so that we can place our budding entrepreneurs, startups, business process outsourcing facilities. We create linkages with the academia, which have been missing for a long time. We don't have an established system of doing that, and also to provide good enough incentives for local and foreign enterprises to land here, and hopefully that would add to our exports. Uh, and also one other program that we are running in collaboration with Pakistan Software Export Board is the establishment of software technology parks. And we are going to kickstart that drive starting from July and August, hopefully.
Great, inshallah. So some
Inshallah.
of the other projects that you are doing, and it's very interesting the kind of work that you are doing for education. And I would like to also formally invite you to our EdTech Summit that's happening on June 4th and 5th. And it's all about transformative technologies in education. And I think, this would be a great case study. Talking about some of the other projects that did strike my attention, was you're doing this project called Asase. What exactly does that entail?
It's the inventory of assets that all the government departments have. So the government departments, they have to log into our Asase platform, and they can enter the inventory of all the assets that they have, and it's easier to keep track of how much inventory that the government has. And another good thing about this platform is that it avoids wastage of resources, because whenever a
Right.
new project is submitted, the planning and development department, usually when they assess these proposals, they can easily check that whether those resources are already available with that department which is submitting the proposal. So it's easier to keep track of the kind of assets that the government has.
Right. And the KP Freelancers Awards was something that got a lot of media attention as well. And I believe due to COVID, you haven't been able to hold them yet, uh, the ones that were due last year. What was the thought process behind these and, you know, awarding the
The-
freelancers?
so we have a very talented pool of individuals who are contributing a lot to the economy of Pakistan through these
Right.
different freelance platforms. And it adds a lot of value to the, and also it contributes a lot to our exports. So they are exporting their skills, and we get foreign exchange in return. So that is how we can export our talent while it's still here. uh, Actually, we wanted to encourage them. The awards programs, whenever you see awards in any particular sector or a certain area, it's to encourage those people who contribute and add value to you know uh, our economy in one way or the other, or add value to a certain sector. So the idea was to encourage them, and actually we club such ceremonies to usually what we do is that we have a flagship event that we call Digital Youth Summit. Unfortunately, it did not happen last year because of COVID, and even this year we have to assess the situation and then decide maybe later on, if the situation gets better, we'll hold the event again. So we intend to hold such ceremonies, award ceremonies, within the DYS event that that we hold. So hopefully this year, if the situation gets better, we'll start the award programs again. And the freelance market in Pakistan is growing every year, so hopefully we'll have a lot of people who participate, and the ones who have contributed more and added more value to our ecosystem, they'll be assessed, and the best ones are going to be awarded.
Right. Dr. Sahibzada, unfortunately, we're running out of time for the session, but it's been a great conversation, and there's a lot that we learned, and it's absolutely awe-inspiring the kind of work that you're doing in KP.
Thank you.
One of the things that comes to mind was maybe more of a personal challenge for you, or was it a challenge convincing so many different government departments and the whole bureaucratic process to go from the brick and mortar systems, like manual registers and so on and so forth, to go digital? Do you still face reluctance?
Actually, it's always a challenge when you're making interventions in the public sector, and there is a resistance to change from certain quarters. I won't say that there is resistance from every level, because I've received tremendous support from the bureaucracy and also the political incumbency. They want things to change, but obviously not everybody wants change to happen. And when you want transparency in the system, when you want it to be more accountable, then obviously it hurts the interest of some people. But overall, I would say that I've had a lot of support from the government and even the bureaucracy. We have some very good bureaucrats in KP, and they are very receptive to change, and they're also receptive to the digital transformation drive. Whenever I go to them and I make a presentation, I get very good feedback, and they're quite receptive to the whole idea, and they're very supportive. But obviously, the biggest challenge is not the technology part of the digital transformation processes. It's always the change management and the people that are a part of the whole digital transformative process. So there are different change management approaches that one can adopt based on the situation that is there. And you see, in a role that I am in, you have to do a lot of expectation management, and you have to ensure that you do things in a certain way, so to ensure that the whole process is not compromised and it keeps going on. Maybe the pace of it can change, it can become slower at times, maybe it can become faster at times, depending on what kind of leadership that we have. But at the moment, I'm very optimistic, I'm very hopeful that the kind of support that I'm getting, if I keep getting that support, we'll be able to do a lot of good things and make a lot of good interventions in the public sector.
So, sir, quickly summing up, what's next? What is the most exciting project for the future that you feel is really going to transform KP?
You see, it's our people. Investing in our people, investing in human development, that's the best thing that we can do for our people. Systems are going to be developed. They can change over time based on how the market changes, how the technology changes, how the processes change, how the law changes, how the the political setup changes. But it's the people that we have to invest in, and we've seen that Bangladesh has done that. You can see how their economy is growing at such a fast rate. Vietnam did it in 1980s. They started the Doi Moi program, and right now they've been able to increase their per capita income 10 times when they started. So human development is very critical. If you look at the different indicators that we have, international reports, surveys, when it comes to human development, we still fare quite low. We should be doing better. And you see, with technology, with the prevalence of connectivity, access, we can provide a level playing field to so many people. If we impart them with the right kind of skills, I think we have a big potential to contribute more to our economy. And that is why most of the initiatives that I'm taking, and I've developed programs already, they are focused on skills at different levels, starting from the grassroots to mid-tier to advanced skills. We cannot make everybody an expert in IT, but at least if we start from a digital literacy drive, if you belong to any particular field, if you are digitally literate, you can do better than those people who are in the same field.
But agriculture to textiles and to retail and pharmaceuticals, you're absolutely spot on there. Thank you very much for your time, effort.
Thank you for having me.
Just as an ending note, your comments about CxO Global Forum.
It's an excellent platform. You see, it makes us realize the power of networking, and I have experienced it time and again. It was an excellent effort started by Kawal, who's become a good friend over the last couple of years. I've been interacting with him since there was a World CIO 200 Summit in 2019, which was held in UAE, and
Right.
luckily I was among the two Pakistanis who won an award over there. So I started communicating with Kamal since then, and he's been doing an excellent job. And you see the power of networking. It's so amazing that whenever we have these WhatsApp groups, we also have these different platforms through which we can interact with so many wonderful people who are associated with technology, who are doing wonderful work in their respective fields. So you just share a message on that platform. Whoever you need to connect to anywhere in Pakistan, you'll be able to connect to them in a very short period of time. And that is what technology has done. It has connected us in such a manner that it has increased it has improved the connectivity significantly. It has also increased the speed of decision making and the availability of information. So it's a wonderful platform and a wonderful forum, and I wish you guys all the best. You are doing an amazing work.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. That'll be all for today. We'll join you again next time with another very special guest. For those of you who are interested in learning more about KP's roadmap for digital Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we've shared the website in the comments. And for those of you who want to get in touch with the very inspiring Dr. Sahibzada Ali Mohammad, you can go to his LinkedIn profile. Those links have been shared as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a good night. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And we hope to see
Thank you
more
so
of you
much.
in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.